Okay, very good. So I'm doing the jugaad on high tech here with watching you on my screen and watching the question somewhere else. So as you know, this webinar is really to respond to your concerns or questions about the changes that we've made as a result of the UGC asking us to do the 3-year program instead of the 4-year program. We've generally had good responses from folks who we've sent this out to, particularly people who been admitted and accepted, and also their parents. But we thought we'd do these webinars because I'm sure you have questions, concerns, and to the extent possible, we'd like to address them live by talking to you over this Hangout. So I think the basic contours of what we are trying to do are very clear, I hope, from what we have sent you. What I'd like to just say up front before we get into the individual questions is that as far as we are concerned, nothing has changed. As far as we are concerned, we are still giving you very much the same education, obviously with some modification. So let's not acknowledge that it is different from before. But in terms of the overall experience, what we can do in the program, the whole ethos and values of a liberal education are being preserved in what we have come up with. We can't call it a 3+1 or a 4-year model because it still is very much that if you do the diploma or the scholars program. But as we see it, it's really a 4-year program that has been split into 2. And now you have the essential difference is that now you have the option of exiting after 3 years. There are some implications which you've already picked up in terms of how the courses are run and so on, and I'm sure you'll have questions about that. But what I do want to assure you and want you to take away is that the way we are looking at this is how do we make sure that nothing really changes in terms of our overall objectives of developing your critical thinking skills, of your communication skills, of giving you the full flexibility and choice of a liberal arts curriculum, and doing all of the things that we were going to do around leadership and public service, and of course developing your capabilities in the areas of your choice. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to you guys to ask any questions that you have about this. Please type those in into your Hangouts. Okay, I see that Velarkard Vishwanathan, I understand that you have not received our earlier email on the changes that we've made, so I'm just asking Tanya to send it to you. But essentially what we've done is, I don't know what to call you, Velarkard, I guess, is that if you remember we had the 4-year program. What we are now doing is giving you a BA, BSc at honors at the end of 3 years. And at that time, you would have a chance to exit Ashoka. But our recommendation would be that you actually stay on 4th year to complete stuff that you will not be able to do in the 3 years. Most notably, the Ashoka Quest, which was part of the first 2 years or the second year in our original 4-year program, which moves now to this 4th year, as well as we've pushed out all electives into the last part of that additional year, as opposed to earlier where you could have done them at any point. Not that you can't do electives in the 3 years, but the last term will essentially be all electives. which will which you can count towards a minor, but will not count towards your major because you would already have been awarded a major uh, in your choice area by the end of 3 years. That's the gist of it. But we are just sending you the emails that went out to everyone else, which I suppose they've received. Let's see. I'm not seeing any other questions so far, so please tell us if I'm missing something or. So Vaishnavi, your question about the fourth year merging or integrating with YF in any way, we debated that because several of you during the course of our outreach to you have asked if you could just do the YIF even before we had to move from the four to this new model. You see, we fundamentally believe that what you are going to do in your undergraduate curriculum is, in fact, uh, an expanded version of the YIF. So to have you go back to do the YIF would seem a little redundant, honestly, in the way the YIF is constructed or configured right now. Obviously, the YF is an independent program, and you would be welcome to still take that, and it would still count for a fourth year. So, absolutely, I mean, you can always apply for the YF, and we'll obviously look at you favorably for that. But at least my academic counseling at this point would be that the scholars program is more tailored to what we see happening in the first 3 years of the BA BSc honors, and the quest plus the electives you would find much more exciting than you would the YIF in the way it is delivered today. You see, the YIF is designed for students who haven't quite had an exposure to a good liberal education, which is typically what happens in undergraduate programs in India. And to that extent, you would have that exposure in very good measure in the undergraduate program here. And who knows, by the time you've completed your 3 years, we may come up with other options for you beyond just the scholars program. And obviously, that would be fine too. The great thing about this new model, albeit it was kind of forced on us, but if you want to look at the positive aspect of it, the great thing about this model is that it does create these options that you can do a one-year program, not necessarily at Ashoka, but you may want to go to King's College or to any of the European universities that offer one-year master's programs and get that additional qualification. You don't have to do the scholars program, though we would very much like you to, because it kind of preserves the integrity of our original vision of giving you a 4-year undergraduate experience. So I hope that answers your question. So I think let me answer Pooja's question first, which is from which semester will we be able to take courses for our major now? Pooja, even before you were able to take courses for your major starting term 2, semester 2, which is the spring term of 2015, 6 months from now essentially, and you would still be able to do that. So we will start major courses starting in 6 months, which is your second term. So I hope that answers your question. And that was the case before as well. Often people misinterpret our curriculum to think that for the entire first 2 years or entire first 3 semesters, you're not going to do any major courses. That is not true. The foundation courses will run across the entire 3 years now. And so the major courses will start in term 2 as they used to before. Govind, you've asked the question about the scholars program. I assume that you got our email, and in the email, when we say the scholars program, it's the 1-year program that we are proposing that all our undergraduate students take after they've completed the 3-year BA BSc honors. We are calling it the Ashoka Scholars Program. And at the end of it, you get a postgraduate diploma in advanced studies, research, and practice. And the 1 year scholars program has 2 semesters. The first semester is the Ashoka Quest, and the second semester is a minimum of 4 and maybe more courses in an area which are basically electives in areas of your choice. You can choose a sprinkling of electives across the university, or you can choose electives in areas that you have majored or minored in and you want to further your learning and depth of knowledge in those areas. Or it could be projects that you would like to do for research to complement what you've already done in your undergraduate, or that continues what you've been doing with your quest experience. So I hope that answers the question. Um, what's happened there? Tony? It's okay. Right. So Ramona, your question about communication. Uh, yes, nothing changes about the written communication and the writing program. So, as we have said in the past, you will begin with a course in critical thinking and writing, which is in the first semester that everybody takes. And in semester 2 and semester 3, we have the critical thinking seminars, which again everybody takes. And if you recall, this was part of the foundation courses, the 12 foundation courses, which none of which changes. So there you will not see any change whatsoever. And there's a very strong emphasis on writing throughout the program for the entire 3 years and the scholars program as well. All our writing faculty and our writing tutors are already in place, and in fact, they've already started working with the Young India Fellowship program. So no worries on that at all. Uh, Tanvi, your question about will the UGC have issues in recognizing a double major completed in 3 years? It may, Tanvi, and to be honest with you on this one, we don't have complete clarity yet. Uh, but we are working with them, and my sense is that our existing model of being able to offer uh, minors will definitely be fine with them, because minors are typically informally done in any case. But on double majors right now, they are being very sticky, and while they may or may not recognize it, we will certainly allow you to do the number of credits to claim a double major, just as you do today claim a minor. A minor also is not something that shows up on anybody's transcripts or your certificate, but it shows up as something on your resumes where you say, I took a requisite number of courses to have some depth in a particular area. So we are certainly engaging with the UGC on allowing us to our students to get a double major by doing the required number of courses in the major. But I can't promise you that that will happen, and unfortunately, this is true for everyone in this country right now, based on the changes that they've made. But we do know that our students are very keen to do the double major. We also do know that the philosophy of doing the double major, which is to do the 12 courses in the major minus any courses that are cross-listed with existing majors or foundation courses that you have done. That number of credits we certainly feel that you should be able to do in the 3 years. And I think when you apply to other schools, you should be able to claim that you had the requisite number of courses and credits to complete a double major in a certain area, just as you would do for a minor today. Uh, When does the student choose a major? The student chooses a major right up front, but they get a chance to change their major all the way up to at least the end of term three, semester three, which is halfway in the program where people would have completed most of their foundation courses, not all. Uh, if you ask me, technically, you can still change your major after that. But obviously your runway to completion gets shortened, and you'd have to do extra courses, and you'd have to do courses during the summer if you were to change after that. So earlier we used to say that you should look at least finalizing a major by the end of 2 years. Now we are saying our recommended time would be 18 months. So that changes roughly by 6 months. And we don't see that as a material difference, because in any case, at the end of that 18 months, you would have been doing the quest. So in terms of your exposure to other disciplines and other faculty, that would have anyway been completed by the end of 18 months in either option. So uh, that's the way we think about by when people can choose their major. In terms of exchange programs with Ivy League schools, nothing changes. So you can still do study abroads during the summer. You can do study abroads during the regular terms, depending on which school is allowing us to do what. So that doesn't change at all, actually. Uh, how much will change in our curriculum, which was earlier discussed by Professor Harris? I don't know what Professor Harris had discussed with you, but there is really no change in our curriculum. If you really look at our program and the courses that we have on offer, nothing changes. It's just the sequence that is changing. And the big change in the sequence is Ashoka Quest moving out of the second year into the optional fourth year. So that's one big change. And in fact, nothing else changes, because as far as electives are concerned, major courses are concerned, those will all be all the same. The requirements will be the same. The only change will be that for your bachelor's in the 3 years, you do not need to do the four required electives that we had in our 4-year model. But you are still free to take those electives and get credit for them and have them on your transcript and be able to claim a minor in them in case you do the required number. So the other difference you could argue could be that in a typical 4-year course, you would still be doing courses in your major to meet your major requirements in the fourth year. Now your major requirements would all have to be completed before the end of 3 years. So if you do take courses in your major area in the fourth optional year, they will be in addition to your requirements. And the requirements of those 12 courses in the major would have to be completed by the end of 3 years. So I hope that answered the question. I think I've spoken about the double major already. So I think the way the double major works is that you have to do 12 courses additional in the second major that you want to do your major in, and minus any courses for that major that have already been covered during the foundation course or in the first major. Uh, these courses, you should be, there is enough room in enough space in our curriculum for you to make the extra effort of doing maybe 5 courses during the terms and doing summer courses or doing summer courses at our partner schools to be able to accumulate those number of credits for the double major. There is still some uncertainty about whether the UGC will allow us to count that as a double major within 3 years. We are not different in that. Unfortunately, this is what the rules of the government are and would be true in any institution. But we are working with them to address that and to allow our students to be able to do the double major. I'm sorry about the uncertainty on this, but there's not much I can do about that other than to promise you that we will do our best to get you your double majors as a full-scale degree. But as I was saying earlier, even if you don't have it as a second degree, at least we can get you the first degree and then have you be able to claim based on your transcripts and the credits that we will give you if you are applying abroad or applying to jobs even, to be able to say that you did the equivalent of a double major by completing the credits required for a second major at Ashoka. Uh, is there a chance of going back to the original 4-year undergraduate program? I would like to believe so. I think what has happened is that we've become collateral damage in the fight that happened at Delhi University. And to resolve that fight, the government took a very big hammer, with which they kind of hammered every nail they could see, so that they would not be seen as being biased against only Delhi University. Our belief is that as the political heat around this subsides, several of us, like Shivnadar and ourselves and other universities who want to do these programs, will band together and try and convince the government to be somewhat more sensible and logical, and sort of meet the aspirations of students such as you, who really do want to do this program and buy into the logic of it. What are the chances? I wouldn't place a number on it, but we certainly are going to work very hard at it. And in fact, we are going to work very hard at it because which is why we decided to make the switch. I think it would have been harder to fight it if we had not made the switch. So our strategy really is, okay, if this is what you want us to do, we'll go do this. We'll do what you ask us to do, but please give us the chance to engage with you and find a way to go back and do what we really want to do and what our students want to do. So I'm hopeful that if things are to happen, they would happen within the next 18 to 24 months, which will allow us to very quickly go back to our earlier model. And if it doesn't happen, if we don't get any indication in the next 18 to 24 months, then we will know whether it is going to happen in your part of the undergraduate experience or not. But I'm certainly hopeful. Right now, it looks impossible that it will happen in the near term. But in the 18 to 24 month period, I think there's a chance that it could happen. Okay, so Sanat, you have a question about UGC accreditation, and you also use the word UGC qualification, and you also use the phrase degree backed by UGC. So let me be very clear with you on what these, as you can see, you've also used 3 different expressions, and in a way, none of those are actually the right terminology. And let me clarify what it actually means and why Shivnadar and I are very different. And we are very different. So under the Constitution of India, a university can be created by a state or it can be created by a central government diktat or decree. In our case, we've been created by the state government of Haryana, and all universities created by a state government have to be necessarily recognized by the UGC. So if you actually go to the UGC site, Shivnadar University is listed today as a recognized private state university. We, in fact, are not even listed there right now. We will soon be listed because we wanted to make this switch. But the UGC is required to recognize us because constitutionally, because we have been passed and decreed by the legislative assembly of a state government under the law and the constitution of this country, we are a recognized university which the UGC has to quote unquote recognize. Now, the next stage of this process, which we have to go through, is that once it has recognized us, which they are, as you can imagine, required to do so, the UGC then comes back after you are in operation to say, are these guys doing what they promised? Are they delivering what they committed? That process usually happens after a period of time, and usually greater than year one, because they want to see you in action. Typically, the UGC doesn't then come in and de-recognize a university. All it does is it gives you a compliance report which says, are you in compliance with our norms, and are you in compliance with what you have stated your own position is with regard to numbers of faculty, the kind of facilities you're providing, and so on and so forth. Once you get the compliance report, it could either say you're all fine, or it could say, you know what, these are the places where you're different from what you said, or not compliant with what we want. Please fix it, and let's move on. And please come back to us. Sorry, not move on. And then you fix those things and you go back. So essentially, the process with UGC is never a process of UGC approval, right? If you go to the website of UGC, you will not find anything which says we have approved Shiv Nadar or we have approved any private university. They can't do that, by the way, because they don't have the right to approve a university that has actually been approved by a state government constitutionally. What they can do is, if you do not comply with what they're saying, they can say on their site, even under a recognized university, that these are the areas where Ashoka University is not compliant. They could even say that the Ashoka University degree is not compliant, or they can say the Ashoka University philosophy degree is not compliant, and so on. Right? So the point I'm trying to make is that this whole approval thing is very misunderstood by people, and people often get into caught in the terminology and the bureaucracy of the regulation. It's very simple. We are recognized. Our name will be up on the website in a few days. And beyond that, it's a question of being compliant, which I think we already are. I mean, we wouldn't have changed from 4 to 3 if we did not want to be compliant. Our whole philosophy is to find creative solutions, as we've done, to be compliant with UGC regulations and not, in essence, spoil the ethos and the values of a 4-year liberal education. So that's what I can tell you about Ashoka. Now, when you raise the issue about Shiv Nadar, again, what is not known, and these are again technicalities, when the Uttar Pradesh government, which was the approving authority for Shiv Nadar, approved Shiv Nadar University, it put in a condition that you will be an approved university only once you get UGC approval. Now, they did a very different thing from what we have. We don't have any such conditions. The Haryana government has completely approved us. But in that one, the Uttar Pradesh government put this condition on Shiv Nadar that you please go get UGC approval. We are allowing you to start a university, but you please go get UGC approval to get approved. So that's a very different situation from ours, and a bit of an outlier which we should not confuse with our situation. They are not apples to apples. And they have a different issue altogether that they have to go through. So I'm sorry for the long explanation, but I think it's important that you and your parents are very clear about what the rules are, and we should not get confused about the different terminologies around accreditation and approval and backing and so on. There's either recognition or compliance. Approval is by the state government as far as we are concerned. You may hear of UGC approval in the context of central universities or universities that are going to the UGC to be approved as universities. We don't have to do that. The state government of Haryana has already approved us as a university. Okay, sorry for the long explanation. Arjun's question, can my 4th year electives contribute to a second major, or would I have to finish the double major in 3 years? Arjun, this is the important point that I hope I had clarified, that typically a double major means a BA degree which says BA degree in history and a BA degree in math, right? as opposed to a BA degree only in history or a BA degree only in maths, or as opposed to a degree which is an interdisciplinary major, which is a BA degree in, if there was something like historical mathematics, just to make the point. Now, what I was trying to explain to you was that currently uh, we are not clear whether the fourth year electives would count towards a major formally, in which we would give you a second degree. Uh, we do know that it would count towards an informal double major, where you can, as I said earlier, claim in your resume or in your applications to companies or universities abroad that you have the required number of credits to which would have allowed you to complete a double major. We would be happy to give you a certificate to say that you've done the required number of credits for qualifying for a second major. But we are still trying to figure out from the UGC whether they will allow us to give you two BA degrees within 3 years or within 4 years under the current rules. And for that, I'm afraid you will have to wait. But I can tell you for a fact that within 3 years or 4 years, you should be able to do the extra credits to be able to at least get our accreditation on it. And I am sure that with the first BA degree, any other authority, whether it is a university abroad or an employer in India, would have no problem accepting that as a double major. But we'll work on that, and I think that the rules there need to be, in fact, clarified by the UGC. Samrit's question about planning a double major. Well, will we have to? Will depend on what the UGC wants us to do. I think that in terms of gaining credits, you can do it within the 3 years or you can do it within the 4 years. But right now, the rules are not very clear about whether you have to do it within 3 years or you're allowed to take more time to do that. So I can't answer that question in the way it's framed. Uh, Certainly, those courses will contribute towards it being counted towards an informal double major. What minimum duration of time is required is something that is not clear from what the UGC is telling us. There is nothing, Vaishnavi, in the fourth year re-enrollment. You would be automatically enrolled in the fourth year. We would assume that you would do the fourth year for everyone unless you tell us that you want to exit at 3 years, which you would now be free to do according to the new rules. Can the fourth year be used as a second major? Question has already been answered, Valcard. Is there a possibility that a degree could change from a 3-year while we are still midway? I mentioned that yes, I'm hopeful that it would. However, if we do switch over, given the new structure, we will give you the option to still exit at 3 years. We will not force you to stay on for 4 years. Equally, for those of you who want to stay on for 4 years, then issues of doing a seamless set of courses across the 4 years, not being able to do a seamless set of courses across the 4 years goes away, and you can do electives and major courses or foundation courses throughout those 4 years. We may have, depending on when this happened, we may still have to do the quest in the 7th semester in that case, because we would have missed the 4th semester slot that we have right now, unless we get approval before that. But most likely that's what will happen if you go from a 3-year to 4-year. We will still give you the option if some of you by then say, no, we are happy with just taking the 3rd year exit and doing something else. As you said, the majors start from the 2nd semester. Will the faculty? Yeah, the faculty for the majors are already available. So there's no issue in that. Yes, the answer is yes, Vasanti, to your question. Okay, Bharni's question about 3-year program. Answer is no. Firstly, Europe does not ask for 4 years, as far as I know. So 3 years is absolutely fine to go to Europe. As far as Canada and the US is concerned, we have checked with a lot of schools, and several schools will accept 3 years, and they will certainly accept 3 years from a good university like Ashoka, which in a way has informal accreditation through its partner schools like Penn and Michigan for being seen as a solid undergraduate degree. So certain schools will take 3 years. Uh, I know Yale will take 3 years, for example, and they've confirmed that to us. Certain schools will take 3 years, but would want a certain number of credits. And so that would mean doing the extra credits, about uh, 8 courses that you would typically do in the fourth year. They would expect you to have completed within the 3 years or done extra courses in the fourth year. And then there are certain programs uh, who really do expect uh, the 4 year elapsed time. Okay, and particularly the large public universities in the US and Canada, public universities are typically the ones that are driven by government. So if you're thinking Canada in your question, University of British Columbia or University of Alberta as opposed to a McGill or a Hamilton. In those, I think in the public universities, you will find that they would want the 4 year elapsed time, a lot of them. So in that case, staying on for the extra year would be advantageous, which is why I think the choice is really yours. Our recommendation to cover yourself off completely against any uncertainty about what will and will not be accepted would be to do the extra 1 year. But look at it this way, you still have the choice to apply after 3 years to the universities that you want to apply to go abroad, and if they accept you, which you will know well in advance, you should be able to go either based on the 3 year degree or based on the credits that you've completed in the 3 year degree. And if not, then you can stay on and get the extra year to be able to be eligible. I hope that answers your question. If someone does not want to stay back during summers for personal. Well, Aritra, I do think that a double major in 3 years, uh, let me think, without doing the summers, uh, will be quite tough. Now, you guys are asking lots of questions about double majors, and I do know that several of you might be interested in double majors, but I don't know. These will all depend on the specific double majors. Obviously, if you're doing history and math, there's not much cross-listing of courses between those, and so you may end up having to do literally 12, maybe 11 courses in a history or a math in addition to your foundation courses to be able to complete the major. And I think it'll be tough to do a second major in 3 years because effectively you get what, 5 terms to do extra courses. Even if some of you have written to us, why can't I do an extra course in the first term, which we wouldn't advise. Even if you had that, you'd be really doing 2 extra courses every term for the 3 years. Well, you're welcome to do that. We won't stop you, but I think that would just cram too much into this one degree, and I would not advise it personally. But so I do think that's a bit of a theoretical option, and life is tough. I'm sorry, but this is not something that we are mandating. It's our country and government that wants us to do this for, in their wisdom, for the sake of our children. And it is what it is. But it is going to be tough to do a double major in 3 years, I would say, without giving up some summertime. Will the fourth year study count towards graduate admissions in the US? I already spoke about that. Absolutely, it will. We have been in touch with a number of schools. And by the way, that's why it's called the Advanced Studies Practice and Research, or Research and Practice Diploma, because it make sure that people understand that it is not some frivolous diploma, but a serious research and study program that is preparing people for higher studies. And our partner schools have said that they will help us endorse this with other US schools, and we will seek recognition from US authorities to make sure that they understand that this is really our way of providing the fourth year in an environment where only 3 years is permitted. Again, sorry. So if we complete our 3 year undergrad in BS in mathematics, will we be eligible for the IIT? Check on this, but I think so. I'm not clued in on these specific exams, so please allow us to check on this. But your BSc in mathematics is the same as a 3 year BSc in mathematics that every college and every university in this country will offer. So I cannot imagine that you will, if the eligibility for these two are a BS or a BSc in mathematics, then absolutely you will be eligible. But we can check on that and make sure that we get back to you. Will there be any sort of campus recruitment at the end of the 3 years? Yes, absolutely. For the people who want to exit at that point, absolutely there will be campus recruitment. No issue on that. Absolutely. Can the student do the second major in the fourth year? Like I said, you can, and I think that the question is, can you get a formal degree for it? That's the question, and that's something that we are still checking on the UGC with. Can the UGC also raise issues against the interdisciplinary majors? Well, the UGC can raise issues about anything, and I hope that they will not on any further issues. Again, to be very technical about this, the UGC actually does not get into what area you give a BA in. You can pick an area, whichever area, and you can make it up. And so their concern only is that if you give a BA honors in a discipline, whatever that discipline, they don't say it has to be pure economics or economics, philosophy and politics. They don't say it can be only pure history and not history combined with international relations. They don't do that. Not so far. Their problem right now, and which is what we are trying to resolve, is only with us giving 2 BAs within 3 or 4 years, okay? In either pure majors or interdisciplinary majors, doesn't matter. But they're saying we need to be very clear, how come you will give 2 degrees for 2 subjects within the period of 3 years? We need to get clear about that. As far as interdisciplinary majors are concerned, they are still considered one discipline, and I think we should be fine as far as we are concerned. I've read all the regulations. It doesn't say anything about interdisciplinary majors. The problem in our country is that some other person goes and raises an objection and says, oh, how come Ashoka is doing politics, philosophy, and economics in 3 years? And by the way, each of those is a 3-year degree, so somebody should study 9 years to get a BA and PP&E. And somebody in the UGC or the government says, that makes sense. So how can you do it in 3 years? If you want a 3-degree interdisciplinary degree, which covers 3 areas, then the BA should be 9 years. It can be as ridiculous as that. I hope that that doesn't happen, but there is no indication right now that that will happen. So let's not worry about that right now, and we will make sure that we clearly communicate to them that that doesn't come under any cloud. Right now, the only gray area is this whole area of 2 degrees or double majors. So it's when we say double majors, we are implying 2 degrees. When we are saying interdisciplinary majors, we are only saying 1 degree. Will the repeated switches between 3 and 4 year programs affect? Govind, no, because the course structures are not really changing. I mean, I think you guys need to understand this, and you really need to get this in your heads. When you say course structure changing, nothing is really changing. You're getting the same set of courses. All you're doing is you're completing your majors earlier when you're doing the 3-year, and you have a chance to do the majors a little later if we had a 4-year program. So I wouldn't worry about that. Let's not get too technical and too nitty-gritty about these things. I think you have to take an overall view of what the 4 years is going to look like. If I had come back to you in the first place with the 3 or 1 year program, you would have only seen it in a positive light, because I could have justified to you that this is the best way to teach a 4-year program, right? Is to allow people to exit in 3 years and do this extra 1 year. It's just that we had this earlier program, and we are going to, and the whole way in which we have approached this. And I'm not trivializing your concern. I think it's a good concern, but I'm only trying to tell you that just try not to worry about it, because the way we have constructed the new program is that it fits right into the old program in a very seamless manner and allows us to switch back and forth uh, as the case may be. And there's only one more switch possible, and that is that you would go back to the 4 years. So we couldn't be worse off. And in some ways, we are not worse off right now, other than the uncertainty around the double majors. Uh, is this mandate? Sorry, where are we? I think I've answered the double major and the interdisciplinary major point. Uh, Yeah, Prem is asking questions about our association and arrangements with these foreign universities. The arrangements and associations are that their faculty are able to visit Ashoka for a full semester or a full year and come and teach in the program without the universities objecting to why they are going off and teaching at a foreign or an overseas university when they should be teaching at their home school. So that's number one. So when Neil Lutsky is coming to teach psychology next year, it's part of our partnership with Carleton. And in fact, Carleton pays part of his fees because they want their faculty to go out and work in newer environments and experience new experiences, part of their retention strategy. So one is just the faculty availability and exchange. And so is it true for our faculty to be able to go and teach there and get some mentoring and coaching from their faculty, and they have much larger faculty pools. The second is obviously your study abroad and student exchange experiences. So we have programs with Yale and with Penn, and we'll soon have with Berkeley, where our students can go there, their students can come here. Each of these have their own quirks or restrictions or opportunities. Some can do only summer, some you can do only regular terms, and so on and so forth. So that's the other aspect of it. The third aspect of it is that several of these universities are helping us create our programs. So for example, the Penn Computer Science Department, which is one of the top universities and also one of the top CS programs in the world, is actually helping us with our computer science curriculum. And their faculty are helping us design that curriculum. Their faculty are going to help us deliver some of that curriculum. They are helping us find faculty to deliver that curriculum and so on. So in specific areas, that's just one example. We get help for that. And then the other aspect which some of you may get impacted by is the impact of joint research between our faculty and their faculty. And that is a very important aspect of the collaboration. Some of the students in your undergraduate batch who will be interested in doing research will be able to work with our faculty and their faculty to research some very exciting areas that you would not have been otherwise able to do. If you plan on staying back for the summer term to complete credits for a double major, will we be charged for tuition or hostel or both? Neither. Will the scholarship awarded to apply? So the way we see the summer term is really a pulling forward of your fourth year. And even in the US and all other countries, wherever you do the summer term, you do have to incur the extra costs of a summer term. We believe that in this case, we will need to charge you for the summer term on a pro rata basis, and that summer term should compensate for what you would have, that payment would compensate for what you would not have to pay in the fourth year. We will probably look at a very reduced hostel charge, but I have to still come back to you on that. But I think we'll make it easy for you. And as far as scholarship is concerned, it will apply throughout. So that is not an issue at all. We will not now lump you with paying your fees beyond what you were paying earlier. The scholarship would still apply in the same way as it applies to the regular term. Is this mandate for 3 year only yet to begin like Ashoka? By the way, it is mandatory for Shivnadar as well, and they are responding right now to UGC as well. It is mandatory for all universities. So that I'm pretty sure. No issue, no question on that. Uh, Everyone is eligible for study abroad programs. Most that just be clear again about terminology. You can apply for a study abroad program irrespective of whether somebody is coming on a student exchange or not. That's a one-way uh, exchange, if you will. That sounds contradictory, but that's you going abroad to another university. For most of those, the criteria will really be that you must be in decent academic standing. We would not like students who are not performing well to go off to another university and not do well there. So I think that is always standard in these programs. Now, in some of these cases, there may be restrictions on the number of positions available for those for the study abroad in a particular semester or in a particular course or in a particular discipline. So we'll have to evaluate that on a case-by-case basis. And if we have to choose between certain candidates, then I think we will pre-specify what is the criteria for being selected to go to a university X where you only have 4 slots and you have 10 people applying. So we will be very transparent and upfront with you about what the qualifications will be. At this point in time, it's tough to say what the qualifications will be because in most cases, those qualifications will be specific to a particular university, both in terms of timing and both in terms of programs. And by the way, this is exactly how it works anywhere in the world. So it's not like we have some sort of a disadvantaged or advantaged program. These are standard rules that apply in any exchange or study abroad program at any university in the world. Let me see what is. Samrid, dealing with the government is a black hole, and for you to get a definitive answer from me on by when we will be absolutely clear. Uh, well, firstly, I did not hear myself say that the answer to a lot of questions will depend on UGC. So I just want to be very clear that the only question that I've said that about is the double major. So I don't want to create unnecessary uncertainty in people's minds. Let's be very clear. We are talking about the double major and the double major only. And I think that does affect a certain number of you who are very keen to do a double major. But my experience with students is that they are more enthusiastic about these things before they get into a program and they completely change their mind after. But that's a different matter. The point is, the only uncertainty is about the double major. Let's be very clear about that. By when I will get clarity is anybody's guess. I don't think anybody can comment or predict when a government body will clarify to them, if ever, what their position is on a particular matter. All I can assure you is that we take this issue very seriously and we are working on it. I would say that maybe in the next uh, 3 months we should be able to get clarity on it. We will certainly try to get you clarity earlier if this is your big decision about this. If this is going to drive your decision about whether you will come to Ashoka or not, then I think the only fair thing is that you let us know, and we will tell you whatever we can accurately tell you by the date by which you have to take a decision. Uh, as you know, we have always been very transparent and very open with you about all of these issues. So I don't want to beat about the bush or fudge an answer here. I don't know, and therefore, at any point in time, if you are at a decision point or you need to know, you ask us and we will tell you what we know. At this point in time, there is uncertainty about double majors, and that is true for any university in India. I think the Ambedkar people who offer a double major are concerned about this, and I don't think, and of course Shiv Nadar is very concerned about this as well because of their double major programs. Well, Basanti, I think some people interpreted the Ashoka quest as uh, let me see, your question is you had planned the Ashoka quest in a manner where the student would be clearer on the subject they want to major in after the internship. Well, this was communicated to you all in some of these things, but actually that was not the core idea of the Ashoka quest. The Ashoka quest was not meant for you to figure out what your major is. And indeed, if you are planning to use that, then you are absolutely right. Unfortunately, it is not available for you anymore. But you have to understand, Vasanti, that something will have to give because we've been forced to change our program. So if you were to look at Ashoka Quest as an opportunity to figure out your major, then unfortunately, yes, that's not available to you anymore. Uh, However, I must tell you that while that is one of the aspects that some students and some faculty may have started to interpret it as, the real reason for the Ashoka Quest is to give you a chance to apply some of the things that you would learn at a grassroots level. And it was also an opportunity for you to learn from the grassroots level what some of the bigger challenges facing our country and our society and our human civilization is. And finally, Ashoka Quest is really about the two big pillars of developing your leadership skills and delivering and creating you a sensitivity and an empathy for public service. And that those were the primary objectives of the Ashoka Quest. A much more subsidiary and tertiary and secondary objective was the idea that it would actually help you figure out your major, uh, which I accept will not be there anymore. But all the other aspects, for the reason for which we took out a whole semester and devoted it to the quest, will still very much be possible and very much be the focus if you do the quest in what is effectively the 7th semester of a 4-year program. Don't say that to a UGC person for me. Thank you. Um, So, Sandhya, the major courses always ran simultaneously with the foundation courses in year one and year two before also. Unfortunately, in our communication and in our understanding, sometimes people tend to go away with the impression that the first 2 years is only foundation and the next 2 years is only major and the allowed electives. That has never, ever been the case. In areas such as computer science, economics, psychology, we were always going to start major courses in term two. In fact, you want to do that to be able to give people a chance to work towards their major. The other thing you must understand is that and so the corollary of that is that the foundation courses, you could do a foundation course in term 8 in the earlier model, of course. In the new model, you could do a foundation course in term 6. You could choose to complete all your major courses by term 5 and only do foundation courses in term 6. So in our model, always foundation and core courses were mixed up. Yes, if you were to measure the proportion of foundation and core courses, you would start with more foundation and go down to less foundation, and you would start with very low core and go up to more core over time. So yes, starting term 2, you will start doing major courses. Starting term 3, you will do some more major, some more foundation, and then you may have some foundation left over to do in in your third year, and that's okay. Can Ashoka get UGC approval for the 4th year program as a PGP program equal to a master's like an ISB program? Malarkar, I don't know where you've got this impression, but you must know that the ISB program is actually not UGC or AICTE or any other body in India approved, and also that it isn't, therefore, a master's program. So I don't know how to answer your question because there is no 1-year master's program period in this country. Uh, this country, unfortunately, does not allow a one-year master's program. So, for me to now say to you whether can we get a fourth year, the fourth year as a PG program, the answer is probably not. Unless the rules for the country change. I don't think the UGC is going to change the rules around one-year masters, masters programs being 1 year just for Ashoka University's fourth year. So I wouldn't place too much hope on that. And I think your impression about ISB is unfortunately or fortunately, I mean, we take pride in the fact that we are not approved. Is not correct. It's not a master's program. Uh, will I get a chance to apply for the financial aid after paying the fee for the first year? Yashwant, yes, I think so. I'm not sure what you mean by that. You can apply for financial aid at any time. You can choose to apply for financial aid in the last term of year 3 or 4. So if you ever have financial difficulties, absolutely, please apply for financial aid. Samrit, the academic structure webpage of the CS mentions we have to do a necessary internship, which is different. When in which semester will be doing that internship now? That internship could happen in the summer, which is often what people do in the second summer. So some people may want to go do extra courses, and some people may want to do an internship in that second summer. You will also have the option to do an internship in the third summer, which is the summer after you've finished your regular 6th term. Samrid, I don't know about whether you want to leave it to the responsible team at Ashoka or not. We think we are responsible. I think that's a decision you have to make, after all. I think in your particular case, I think you and others have had tremendous exposure to different Ashoka founders, faculty, admissions officers. Uh, we have connected you to several other people who have testified to our credibility and commitment. I would leave it to you to decide whether you want to treat us as responsible or not. I hope you do. Yes, it is possible to transfer to an American school any point in time, so no issue with that. Since we would now have to declare our major by the end of the third semester, we would no longer have the option to choose majors in basic sciences. We were anyway not suggesting that you choose major in basic sciences for this first batch anyway, because we've never made ever any commitments that we would start basic sciences majors for you. Even if we did start courses in basic sciences, I doubt whether we will be able to start majors in basic sciences. That has never been part of our plan. And I think that other than that, we do offer all the majors, so you could still switch that. But I think as far as physics, chemistry, and biology is concerned, we were not hopeful about that for the first batch in any case as a major, and I hope we have not said that to you, but at least I have never committed that in our sessions. So yes, the fact is that you will not be able to do basic sciences. And yes, if there was a situation like that, then what you are saying is true, but then I can say that even without having this change, that basic science majors will be very difficult to do for this first batch. Sorry, what is that? That clear correction report. Oh, your question was, is it possible to transfer to an American school for a year or certain semesters? Yeah, that's not actually called a transfer, that's a study abroad. So yes, absolutely. That's Priya's question, I think. Thank you for answering. Maybe the major is a student's area of specialization and the field is which is bachelor's degree requirement for a major course will be taken. Yeah, I'm sorry about that language. When it says mainly, that is what it means. That the proportion of major courses will be more in the third and fourth year. Now, I would say that the proportion of major courses will be more in the third year and possibly part of second year, or the second half of second year. But thanks for pointing that out. I think we should clean up that language. Do we choose our courses or do you give us a structure? We give you the structure. Some of the courses, you do choose your courses. So what will happen is when you come in the first term, the structure is that you have to choose out of the 12 foundation courses. However, the critical thinking course is mandated in the first semester. So that you don't have choice in. You may have some choice in choosing which instructor you choose to do it with, because there will be 3 or 4 instructors offering that course. Uh, and then the choice that you will have is in the other 3 courses, you can choose any of the foundation courses and any of the people who are teaching those foundation courses. So you do get to choose which of the foundation courses you want to do in the first term and with which instructors. Uh, Now, there again, we will do some academic counseling for you, because if you have an econ major uh, and you opted for that, then we would suggest that you do the economics foundation course in the first term and maybe the mathematical reasoning foundation course in the first term, just so that you get the background under your belt by the time you get to the second term, where you'll probably do the first econ course in your major. Uh, but that's the economics example. Maybe if you've chosen history and international relations, then it doesn't really matter. So I think that while the structure is specified, you do get to choose your courses and your instructors in each term with a fair bit of flexibility, but with some constraints imposed upon you by the system, because there's limited time and you have chosen to specify a certain major. And then, of course, in the 3-year program, what happens is that you do get even more choice. When you get to term 2 and 3, you have to choose the critical thinking seminar courses. For there you will truly get a choice of choosing a course from multiple seminar courses. So you'd pick 1 out of 14 or 12 seminar courses offered by different faculty, and that would happen in term 2 and term 3. Within the major, there will be electives as well. So in the major, you will do some core courses that is required of everyone who is doing that major. And then there will be some elective courses for anybody doing that major as well. So you will get to choose the courses there in terms of which electives you want to do. So I think that's where you will have the choice, and I hope I've been able to tell you that there's choice in the foundation, there's choice within the foundation's requirements, and there's a choice in the major. And of course, there's always the unlimited choice you have of choosing to do extra courses as electives in the first 3 years, and of course doing the extra electives in the final term of the scholars program. So there's a lot of choice and a lot of selections to be made, which is actually at the heart of a liberal curriculum. While the structure might seem like we've specified everything and laid it down, trust me, you will have much more choice than you are able to see if you just look at the structure today and the way it is put out. Is the optional 4th year valid as a 4-year program for international postgraduate in all capital ALL institutions? Now you're putting me on the spot. I can't answer that. I mean, there may be some institution in the world that might say, no, we won't accept it. But yes, most institutions abroad are very reasonable. Ashoka has a great reputation. They go by elapsed time and credit. So either way, you would have the 4 years of elapsed time and the 4 years of credits. A lot of people today do what is called an MA previous and apply for these programs. So they enroll in an MA program and they get the credits in the first year, which gives them the credits as well as the 1 year, and then they apply for the program. So this is the equivalent of that. So as far as institutions around the world are concerned, I don't see an issue at all with. That's why we've created this program, because we could have crunched the credits into the 3 years, we could have said 3 years is valid and so on. But really, by doing this 4th year, you absolutely make sure that you have the credits, you have the elapsed time, you have the undergraduate degree, And of course, with that, we provide all of the support that we will do with regard to our partner schools and so on, who will also lend credibility to the fact that this is equivalent to a 4-year degree. When you put it as ALL in caps, then I technically can't commit to that. But you know what? Given the caliber of the students that we are going to have at Ashoka and the kind of institutions that they are going to go to, which are some of the top institutions in the world, this will not be an issue. Again, Anya from the queue, when you use the word transfer, then the answer is no. Because when you transfer, you actually go there and you leave us forever. If you are meaning study abroad or student exchange, then yes, the scholarship will still be valid in the same amount that we've been giving you the scholarship. But if you have a full scholarship from us and you now want to go to a Yale and the cost of that education is much higher, which is what typically a student will have to pay, then we will either have to find an additional scholarship to fund you, or we'll have to tell you to fund that yourself. Because in making a scholarship commitment to you, we are not making a commitment on the scholarship for the foreign part of your education. That doesn't mean that we would not try and find you a scholarship to go if you are already a scholarship student with us. But that commitment we cannot make right now. It all depends on where you want to go and how expensive it is and so on. But the amount of money that we are setting aside for you to go, setting aside for you for the 4 years, will still be available to you to apply towards the fees that you have to pay in the other university. Where are we? Yes, you will absolutely have counseling. Counseling is in fact required. In the liberal curriculum, it's not so straightforward to just pick courses and say, I want to do this and I want to do that. You have to engage and understand. And, I've been through that myself, and I can tell you that within one term, you will figure it out yourself. You all are smart enough. But it does take time to figure out the system and to see how to work it. And then even after that, once you figure out the system, it helps to have somebody who is an academic, which is how counseling will be provided in your case, be able to sit down with you and truly counsel you and help you think through how to sequence your courses, what to choose, and so on. So the answer is simply yes. If you wanted to pursue basic science majors on your own time, is there faculty to help us pursue it or not? I don't think so. We will not have so many faculty to help you do a full basic science major on your own. So listen, don't push us on the basic science. I think we must tell you that right from day one we've maintained that we are not sure when we will start the basic science majors. We are committing to the majors that we are starting. We are not going to commit to majors that we have not yet committed to till we come back to you. So don't count on basic science majors if you're coming in the first batch, please. Yeah, Mr. Krishnan, I completely agree with you, and thank you for your trust in us. Yes, we indeed have no choice, but on the other hand, please be assured that the 4-year model is very much still what we are following, and we will completely and surely make sure that Saryu gets all the help and counseling and guidance that she needs to complete this program in very much the same way, with very much the same expectation that she had when she signed up for the program. That I can give you my personal assurance on. Shabnam, I've already answered this question earlier, but most likely you will have up to, not most likely, you will have definitely up to end of term 3 to decide your major. Okay. In special cases, you might even go into term 4, though that will be difficult, but till term 3, definitely. Yes, as we have said in our letter, we will continue to work with the UGC to convert back to do a 4-year program, and the current batch will have the option to transfer to the 4-year program. But now that we are giving you the option to do a 3-year program, we will have to honor that if any of you want to exit at the end of 3 years. We would like to believe that all of you would want to do the 4-year program in its current form, which is the 3 plus Ashoka Scholars, and in the 4-year program, should it again happen with the UGC. We remain very committed to the 4-year model and everything that it offers us. So we will not force you to do it, but yes, you will just automatically convert to that model if that's what you want to do. I'm not sure I've cleared all your doubts, Samrit, because frankly, my doubts are not clear on the double major, but appreciate your support and trust. Thank you. Sandhya, could you just clarify how many minimum scores a student? Minimum courses are 4 per term in a regular term, in a monsoon and spring term. Minimum courses are 2 per term in a summer 1 and a summer 2 term. So each summer will have 2 terms, a summer 1 and a summer 2. Each runs for about 6 weeks. In each summer term, you will have 2 courses instead of 4 courses because these are shorter terms. This mirrors the terms in the US just to make it easy for our students to do exchanges or study abroad while we are also offering courses here. If you're going to do masters at MIT in physics, Anya, then I'm afraid that we are probably not the right place for you because we are not. I would imagine that masters in physics at MIT would require a BSc and an undergraduate in physics, unless they accept people with a BSc in maths, which is what we are offering. Sometimes people do that. You may want to check on that, Anya, but I'm sorry, I can't answer that question. My sense is that you would have had to have done an undergraduate degree in physics, or at least a chemistry or a related subject to be able to go to an MIT degree in physics. And you may want to check on that, but I wouldn't take a chance. The Ashoka Quest can be incorporated in the summer, and we've talked about that. So why don't we discuss that when you're here? And you know, if several students are interested in doing a quest in the summer, we'll organize it for you. Listen, it's not a big deal. The reason we did not put it in there is because we expected that a lot of our students would want to go abroad or do some courses on campus, or indeed do a summer job in anticipation of their wanting to go out into the real world after 3 years. But if we find that there's enough interest in doing Ashoka Quest, I'm very passionate, by the way, about the Ashoka Quest. So I'll personally commit to getting a Ashoka Quest organized for those of you who want to do it earlier or who want to do it maybe in the 3rd summer, just after you've completed all your requirements for the 3-year. But what we really want to do is make sure that all of us stick to a particular beat and would very much like you to stay on for the 4th year for the Ashoka Quest. So I'm not making any commitments, but I'm just saying that, yes, technically it is feasible to do that. We've chosen to put it out in the 4th year only because we feel that it makes sense to get the entire 3-year requirement out of the way and give you the option of doing other interesting things in that real one summer, which is a critical summer that you have between 2nd year and 3rd year, where a lot could be going on with regard to study abroad, job-related internships, extra courses towards minors, and so on. And we didn't want to bog it down in a quest. I'm not sure I know what you mean, Manish, by the creative writing course. We actually didn't have a creative writing course. We had critical thinking courses. Those are very much part of this. Creative writing course could be an elective that you can take during those 3 years. So that's absolutely fine. And especially if you do, I'm sure creative writing is part of the English major or part of the English and journalism major. So yes, that will still be there. So answer is yes. Sandhya, to answer your question, yes. Sorry, we are having a bit of a scrolling issue here, but I think you asked the question about whether can you complete the 12 foundation courses and the 12 major courses, 12 to 18 major courses in the uh, 3 years. The answer is yes. You will be able to complete that. No issue about that at all. Yeah. I'm sorry, Mrs. Muthukumar. I've been referring to you as Vasanti, but I didn't realize you were Shreya's mother. Sorry about that. If a student decides to do 4 years with Ashoka at the beginning, can she do a double major maybe without summer terms? Will that be possible? Oh, so you decide that you will do the fourth year right in the beginning. Okay, sorry, thanks for clarifying that. Will she be able to do? But I think I answered that earlier, ma'am, that we are still clarifying. This is the one area where we are still clarifying rules from the UGC. Uh, as far as the credits are concerned for getting a double major, absolutely yes. Between the 4 years, she will be absolutely able to do enough credits to cover the two majors. The challenge is, can we give her a second BA in that other major or not, is something that we are clarifying from the UGC, because they are again putting conditions on how many minimum number of years somebody would have to be with the university before you can get 2 degrees. They are treating it as two separate degrees. Uh, so we can certainly give her a certification saying that she has met the requirements of a second major in these 4 years by doing these courses in this particular additional major. That we will be able to do. But can we give her 2 degrees is something that we are still checking on, and this is what I had clarified earlier to the students in the beginning who were asking a lot of questions about this. This is something that the UGC has got some very ambiguous rules on, which are not very clear. So we will get back on that. The question that was asked of me was also by when we will be able to get back, and I had asked for some time on that, but we'll certainly try to get that clarified quickly. I am Pramath Raj Sinha. I am a founder and trustee of Ashoka University. I have been involved in this project from day one. I was very involved also in the setting up of the Indian School of Business in Hyderabad, and I was the first dean, where I'm still a member of the board. I have a BTech in metallurgical engineering from IIT Kanpur, and a master's and PhD in mechanical engineering from the University of Pennsylvania, where I did my research in the field of robotics. I taught briefly at the University of Toronto for 2 years before I joined McKinsey and Company, the management consulting firm, where I worked for nearly 13 years. I was involved in setting up ISB during those days and took a year's sabbatical to be the first dean of ISB. I then was the managing director and CEO of a media company called the Anand Bazar Patrika Group in Kolkata. Those of you who are familiar with Telegraph and ABP News, I was the CEO of that company. And then started my own media company called 9.9 Media. Those of you who are tech phobes, tech files, I would say, would know of our magazine called Digit, and that's what I am involved in. But I've been very involved in the whole Ashoka project from day one. I was the founding dean of the Young India Fellowship Program, and for the first 3 years, and I'll continue to be very involved in the Ashoka project as a founder and trustee. So I hope that introduction suffices for those of you who don't know me. So all of the courses that are listed on our site right now award 4 credits. So most of the courses that are in the sample curriculum that we have, is for 4 credits. The UGC again requires, I didn't get into the technical details, requires 96 credits for you to get a BA BSc honors in 3 years. So those 96 credits are divided by 4 into 24 courses, and those 24 courses are divided by the 6 semesters into 4 courses per semester, which is the minimum requirement. So that's how you get that. But for example, we may be offering courses for fractional credits or smaller credits. So some of you have expressed interest in doing a minor in performing arts, for example. Now we are going to do a course in Bharatnatyam in the first term, first semester, which will be a 2-credit course. It will only meet once a week, and it will be 2 credits. So there will be some courses that will have fractional credits, which will not be really the regular subjects. They will be things that will be co-curricular and extracurricular. The dual major option is still on. We just have to clarify whether we can give you a second degree or not. Yes, a minor in physics via an exchange program is entirely doable, Anya, and I should have mentioned that, and thanks for pointing that out. That's a very perceptive observation. But if you want to do that, we will certainly help you do that. Absolutely. Yes, Mr. Krishnan, I think that's a great idea. We will do that. By the way, I'm also traveling across the country over the next few days certainly to Bangalore, Bombay, and Kolkata to do face-to-face open houses, understanding that people have concerns like you have had on this webinar. So that would also give us an opportunity to hook up. I'm not sure exactly where you are, but I think that's a great suggestion. And what we will do is we will set up a good open house session where the parents can meet with the founders and the vice chancellor and the faculty and the deans when you're here. We'll do that. Hello, Mr. Nagpal. I hope I didn't also end up calling you Naresh, but I didn't realize you were his father. Mrs. Srinivasan, likewise, welcome. Thank you. We do want to be helpful. We take responsibility for the fact that you are entrusting the lives of your kids in our hands. We do look forward to having you on campus. We just did a soft launch of our campus yesterday. It looked fantastic. And everything is in place for us to get started. The faculty, the facilities. This UGC thing is a little bit of a setback, but we don't see that. Now that we've absorbed it and we've come up with our new curriculum, we are very confident that we'll deliver the same quality and the same experience going forward. No, we are not doing an equivalent to a BTech computer science because that would put us in jeopardy because UGC might ask us to go get AICTE approval and so on, which is a mug's game. And we don't want to make things even more complicated than things are. So we've been in touch with our partner schools at UPenn, which is helping us with the CS program. And in effect, they are quite confident that this option that we've created in fact, we were advised by the CS guys, we were very concerned about CS, and we were advised by the CS guys to do it this way so that we stay out of the ICTE, which would then completely spoil the model. Then we would be just doing yet another BTech in this country, which you can go get anywhere, and it would not be a liberal curriculum at all. So we've made a conscious choice to go with this 3+ scholars program model for our CS graduates as well, with strong support from from UPenn as our partner school that is helping develop this program. We don't know about the credits for sports-related courses. No, Bharatanatyam is not the only performing arts option. I never said that. I think you will have lots of performing arts options in Hindustani classical music, in theatre, in painting, and those are all being put in place. So in the first term, we are offering those four options in the performing arts: Bharatanatyam, Hindustani classical music, uh, theatre, and painting. 23rd, we'll try to do our best to set up that meeting that you suggest. Absolutely. Bhaskar Datta and Ratul Lahkar will ring you on the maths part of the economics curriculum. Don't have any doubts about that. They both are top-notch economists who come from the whole game theory world. Some of our economists come from the finance background. Two of them used to teach at ISB. So you will get enough rigor on that program. There's absolutely no issue. In fact, uh, we have a very solid economics faculty and curriculum that is much more robust and rigorous than any economics curriculum in India right now. Uh, I think I also I answered the question about the 3-year course. It's mandated to everyone, including Shiv Nadar and any university in this country right now, and they are all having to answer and fall back. So it's not just Ashoka. It includes, by the way, IISc and IIT, Kanpur, and Ambedkar University in Delhi, Jindal University, and places like Bangalore University and Flame and Symbiosis and so on. So this is a directive from the government. By the way, those parents and also those students who are on this, you should know that this is not being done by UGC. This is being done by the new Modi government. The UGC has been directed by the new Modi government to implement this policy as a special order to the UGC to do it. And the reason they have done this is because they made a commitment in their election manifesto to reverse what was happening at Delhi University. When they found that it was not easy to reverse it, they had to invoke a special clause which mandates the UGC to implement it across the entire country, and we've ended up being collateral damage in that whole fight with Delhi University. It's, if you ask me, very sad to see that a government that has come with so much hope and aspiration thinks this is the most important thing to do in the first 30 days of its being in power. But be that as may, I think this is why we need a liberal arts education in this country, because our students and our young people need to understand the complexity of working in today's world, where it's not what you study, but your ability to see through what is happening and to be able to question and challenge what is happening that is becoming more important. We'll organize meetings on both days. It's not an issue. We'll give you the option. We'll do a series of these meetings. So please don't worry about 23rd versus 24th. I know that we will never agree on a date if we have so many students and parents coming. So we'll just do a series of these sessions and give you the option to attend on either dates. We'll try and keep it in the mornings of all those dates so that you have the option of attending any of those dates and leaving in the afternoon or evening. I hope that will work better for all of you. Yeah, Anya, I think we should put you in touch with our faculty member Maya Saran. If you write to the admissions office, or if you just write to maya.saran, maya.saran at ashoka.edu.in, she will tell you that the maths program that she will offer is not going to be dry at all. And if you want to use that analogy, it would be very colorful and very uh, uh, very exciting in its design. Just so you know, Maya is a trained classical vocalist and also makes a lot of connections between music and maths. She taught mathematics at our Young India Fellowship program, where several people who were scared of taking mathematics courses and had never done mathematics even beyond class 8 uh, were amazed how she rekindled an interest in mathematics for them. So this is going to be a very different kind of a mathematics program. It's a program that actually teaches you the beauty of mathematics and how mathematics can be applied in the real world and is part of what the real world is, while at the same time being one of the most abstract fields there is out there. So I would let Maya talk about it and not steal her thunder, but she's very compelling and very exciting about it. I wish I could do the maths course because I was always scared of maths, even though I am a hardcore engineer in my training. Well, I'm ready to answer more questions, but it looks like you all have run out of steam. But thank you so much for joining us this morning. Please continue to send us your questions and clarifications. I just want to emphasize once again that this is by no means a compromise as we see it. Some things have changed, but at the end of the day, we are going to give you a fantastic experience that is unparalleled in India and compares with some of the best in the world. Our Young India Fellows are already on campus for the last 1 week, and they have just been completely blown away by what is going on with our new campus and, of course, our faculty and the curriculum. You will have a similar experience. We had 150 guests on campus yesterday for our informal inauguration. We will do a similar event when you are here, and then we will have our formal inauguration in November, hopefully with the President of India. So we have an exciting year awaiting us on campus, and I do look forward to meeting you all either during uh, the continued outreach events that we are going to do in every city, or on the 23rd, 24th, 25th next month. Till then, thank you, and thank you very much for joining us. Bye.